What's the worst thing someone tried to correct you about something you're specialized at? For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. Wrote software for a large, interactive art piece. It was presented in such a way that it encouraged self-discovery of how it was used, but it wasn't difficult and most people picked up on the main operation of it very, very quickly, as it should have been. There were 3 stations that interacted together but separated by some distance. I see some guy very flamboyantly operating the device. It created music, lights, and fire, and explaining how it works to a small crowd around him. I'm intrigued, so I walk over to hear him. He's figured it all out and basking in the adulation of those around him. But, he's wrong. Like, way off. So, after listening a bit, I gently, and politely, point out how it differs from what he is saying. He looks around at his crowd, and tells me I'm way off and don't get it, that I just don't understand. This is more perplexing because simple operation and observation contradicted what he was stating. Anyway, I again, politely, explained a bit more to further illustrate where he was wrong. He told me I just didn't know what I was talking about. I hesitated and considered just thanking him and walking away, but then thought better of it. I looked at him and told him I wrote the software for what he was doing, and had been writing and running it on my laptop at home every night for the last 6 months. The crowd's attitude changed, people thanked me, and I wandered off. It was weird how invested that guy was in being right and the center of attention. At least he was polite at the end. I work in lightning protection here in the States. I do the estimating and the designs for the largest company in the Southeast. Have for going on 7 years. Certified through our industry's certification company. The amount of engineers and architects that love to argue with me about the code is astounding. I live that code. Being I estimate and design systems, my main job is to know that code. The worst was the Army Corps of Engineers. We had a project that their designer designed that was in the bid package drawings. Pretty standard, pick out the materials requested and ignore the incorrect design. That is how we bid it, won it, and designed it. This would have provided them with a fully certified system. In our business, a UL Master Label certification is as close to a requirement for every job as anything can be. 2 weeks after we submit our design, it comes back with a revise/resubmit stamp and a very snarky demand from the Corps that we change our design to the one provided in the bid package. I went back and forth on email and calls with the engineers trying to explain to them that their system would not work, was potentially a dangerous hazard, and ultimately could not be certified or warrantied. They came back basically with, "We don't care what you say, we know better, do it." So I did. Designed exactly like they had and put a disclaimer on the drawing saying there would be issues and we were not responsible. A few months go by, it's installed and ready for certification. They call the inspector out and he fails it without even getting on the roof. The Army is pissed and tried to come back at us. I politely forward the countless email chains to the officer in charge. Now they scramble to get it up to code. As a consequence, it resulted in us issuing a change order to bring it up to code that was around 75% of the original cost of the project. Edit: this has also now been posted at r/malicious compliance. So go show the love over there and thank the advice. Thank you for the silver. A new house gets built next door to mine, and shortly after the owners move in, they knock on my door to complain that my house is built too high. I explain that my house was/is built on flat ground and their builder has built their house lower, and undercut my fence. The guy proceeds to give a long-winded spiel about how earthworks are done and my house is too high and I have to fix it. I then explain that I do earthworks for a living, have done the earthworks for 300 plus houses in my suburb alone, and around 1,200 in the local area. I name his builder, site supervisor, engineer, the exact floor levels in the street, and the law that says that he has to pay to fix my fence. He still hasn't paid, and legal procedures are beginning soon. EDIT 1, Earthworks in this case is the removal of topsoil and any mud/clay/organic matter from beneath where the house is going to go, and replacing it with clean compacted sand, trimmed dead flat to within 10 mm. EDIT 2, because his block was lowered and leveled to suit his engineer, he is responsible for retaining the land around him, which is now higher than his. EDIT 3, I was prepared to let it slide, because his place being lower now helps my drainage in heavy rain. But when he wanted me to pay for his retaining wall responsibility, and would not pay for his half of the fence, I decided that I had enough bluster and time to pay up. My friend and I went to Dapper Day at Disney last weekend, where people dress up in vintage wear. One of Disney's photographers asked my friend if she was Disney bounding, interpreting a Disney character, and she replied that she was simply a generic dress circa 1955. The photographer began telling us how she was really much more late 1940s, and that we may have researched it, but he lived through it, and next time we should look at a picture. We are both professional theatrical costumers whose strengths lie in historical costuming, and her dress was taken directly from a 1955 catalog. Further, based on his approximate age, and being generous that he may have aged well, this man was definitely not older than 5 in 1955. In the Netherlands we have different sized glasses for our Pilsner. They all have a different name. The smallest, 0,18 L is called a flute, fluge, the middle a vase, vase, and the large, 0,5 L we just call half a liter or pint. Sometimes the bar has a medium of 0.33 liters as well, that doesn't really have a name. Anyway, most people drink flutes or vases. You'd order a flute, please, or a vase, please, and you'll always be served the house Pilsner. Most well-known one is Heineken, of course, in the size you ordered. As you might have guessed by now, I am a bartender. I was at work in a bar and had a group of 5 dudes drinking vases, a lot of them too. Thing is you order a beer, you'll be served a vase of Pilsner as a standard. Everyone knows this, it's common knowledge, in the Netherlands, and no one ever objects to it. These dudes had been ordering 5 beers, please, the whole night. They were served vases, so 0,25 L, the whole night. When time came to pay, I gave them their bill and it said 35x vase PF Heineken. Then they tried to argue with me that the glass I served them, the 0,25 L one, is not a vase but a flute, that a flute was 0,25 and not 0,18, and that a vase is 0,33 L. I told them dudes I was not going to argue about something as ridiculous as this, as anyone who drinks beer in the Netherlands knows what a flute and a vase is, and everyone know what size they are. But they refused to pay, so I told them to Google it. They did. They found a website that listed the sizes and names of the glasses, but they wouldn't believe it because the website must be owned by Heineken. Sure, a flute and vase conspiracy, that's a new one. They told me the bar next door serves a vase of 0,33 L for the same price we serve a 0,25 L one, so they weren't going to pay. I told them to cut their crap, that I work in that bar too, I do, and that the price of a 0,33 was higher than our 0,25 and that it's not called a vase. He didn't believe me and looked up their drinks menu, as if it would even matter what the prices next door were, even if they would be lower. He found out that, once again, I was right, but had some excuse as to why I was still wrong. In the end I told them to pay or I'd call the cops, so they paid but said they were going to write a complaint email, which I encouraged them to do. At this point even other costumers were telling them to stop being ridiculous cunts. I kindly asked them to never return again. They came back in a week later, but I told them they would not be served. They tried ordering drink from my coworker but he told them to off too, so they just stood at the bar for a while and left. Fecking idiots. I hear so much stupid, unsolicited stuff from people about my T1D. One time a guy told me that if I eat an alkaline diet, my body would become alkaline and kill the diabetes virus inside my body. I then told him that that's not possible since type 1 diabetes isn't caused by a pathogen but is an autoimmune disease, and that it's also pretty impossible to make your body more alkaline because your body has pH buffers, and that if it does become more alkaline, it's a medical emergency. Then he just started spouting stuff he heard on TV without listening to anything I said. Edit: to clear up some confusion, when I say that T1D isn't caused by a pathogen, I mean that a virus or bacteria is not directly responsible for causing the disease, like say how the flu virus is directly responsible for the flu. I know there's a lot of research on some viruses that can trigger an autoimmune response in your body that then causes T1D.